Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another episode of the Unathletic, where three very unathletic men are going to talk about what the world's greatest sportsman athletic wise has achieved in his career. So just to give you some context, we're talking about one personality in cricket of course, but his runs 9,230 runs with an average of 46.85, 123 games he's played, 30 centuries, 31 half centuries with a highest score of 254 not out. As captain, 68 games and 40 wins, which by in itself is a new record. He's India's cap number 269. We're talking about Mr. Virat Kohli.
Yes, sir.
So, just to give you some context, he's called time on his test career, and we wanted to talk about all the great achievements that he's done throughout his reign as an Indian team player as well as the test captain. He is India's most successful captain in terms of number of wins. He's the fourth most successful test captain overall, only behind Graeme Smith, Ricky Ponting and Steve Waugh.
Those names, dude. Yeah. Like just the cream of the cream.
Amazing. He has 20 centuries as a captain and 7 double centuries.
I think both of those are records also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before we get into a deep dive of this podcast, I just want to say two things. That one is that we are going to be talking only about Kohli's test career. I think he deserves that much, where we're not getting his ODI, IPL influence into this, just because of how much he's given to that format. And second thing is that, yes, even Rohit Sharma has retired from Test cricket and he was an Indian captain too. But this is a Kohli tribute episode
that's
only.
True.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for making that clear.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to start off from the very beginning. Because what we saw Kohli coming as an under-19 captain.
Oh, I thought when he was born, bro. What research is poured on?
When he whips that notebook out, no, I never know what to expect.
Okay. So we saw sort of a brash, a person who couldn't control his emotions, a person who wanted to put it out all on the pitch. We saw this person come out onto the Indian stage. From there to becoming the Indian Test captain, to becoming the most successful Indian Test captain, he's gone a mile, he's changed himself, he's adapted to the game. So I just wanted to kick things off by asking you about his start and how we grew with him there.
So when Kohli's Test career kicked off, right, which was I think in the West Indies tour.
2011.
Yeah, there were a lot of, he was getting bounced a lot and a lot of expert cricket pundits like us said that he does not belong in this format.
Yeah.
And before we get into what Kohli did in this format, he did a lot of special things. But Test cricket is what? It's a battle of resilience. It's a battle of fortitude. You use all these kind of objectives, right? Like mental strength, hanging in there.
Focus for all 5 days of cricket.
Exactly. It's got to do a lot with resilience. And I think the way Test cricket is supposed to be played is how Kohli has shaped himself to be a cricketer.
Yep.
Because he realized very quickly that the way he is right now at that particular stage of his life, that he's not going to, maybe he survives in the Indian team and he keeps playing, but he's not going to excel, he's not going to be a champion.
He's not going to be the Kohli we all know, right?
Yeah.
When we think of Kohli as a test batsman or a test cricketer, we put him as one of the best, maybe India's best ever types, right? Like that's the conversation which we used to have about Kohli. And in the last, let's say 4 years, it's not been that level. So I think more than us, Kohli is the one who knows his true standards, his true game. And he's seen over the course of time, even though he had one great 2023 in between, he actually played pretty well that year. But as a trend, he's not able to perform at the astonishingly high levels which he could, right? And he respects the game too much than just half-ass it on the field. And by half-ass, I don't mean in terms of effort, but in terms of the output which we've been used to, right? So he, I think, has shown a lot of maturity. He's always been a very mature cricketer, but a lot of maturity in this decision as well. He's not taken it lightly, and I genuinely feel like he's done it for the betterment of the team, that, you know what, I'm not performing my best, it's time to let the young ones take a chance.
Yeah.
So it's, there's been a lot of debate about like the moment, like should he have retired now? He has more in him. He has a lot more fitness and all of that, right? But if you really sit and
he
think
loved
about
the
it,
game too much. Yeah. He respected the game too much. But see, again coming back to what Test cricket is, right? It's about hanging in there for brutal stages where you're getting absolutely battered. Let's just talk about it from a batsman's point of view. It's overcast, ball is moving around. You have James Anderson, Stuart Broad who are swinging it both ways. You have to be able to stick in there, like value your wicket so much that you don't give it to them. But when the sun shines, you have to make it count. And that is what Kohli did throughout his career. When he had that purple patch just went on and on and on and on. I don't think you can call it a patch anymore.
Yeah.
He capitalized so much on his form because he understood the value of what Test cricket brings. Within a game, there are certain stages where you're going to dominate and you have to make that count. Within a career, there are certain phases where you're going to dominate and you have to make that count. So, as I said, a lot of Kohli's life and his career has been built around how he would play a test match over 5 days.
Yeah.
See out the bad initial phases, hang in there as much as possible, don't give up. But when time comes, like whoever is in front of you, whether it's Anderson, whether it's Mitchell Johnson, whether it's Rabada, he's gone and dominated everywhere.
At their home grounds.
Yeah, at their home grounds.
So, just to continue on that front, we've talked about how important it was for Kohli in this particular format. Also want to touch upon how important this particular format was, the way he showed it and portrayed it, and for generations to come, it's going to be very important because of the way Kohli has taken this format on his shoulders and always been a champion for it. He's sort of been the brand ambassador for the whole game in terms of Test cricket. He's been epic for the last decade with incredible showings in various conditions. So what has he done to the game in general? How has he uplifted the dying format in certain senses? Because T20 was up and coming. People were wondering whether Test cricket was going to be a long forgotten memory. Yeah. So, but this man has changed the whole perception about Test cricket.
See, like for that, it's like you also have to realize that the Indian market matters a lot. Right? If Indian market has eyeballs on anything in cricket, that is when it counts in terms of marketability, the mass of the sport and all of that, right? Because it's like, fortunately / unfortunately, people have different opinions, but it's dominated by us, right? So for the Indian market to be this captivated in test series, both home and abroad, takes a very, very special level of character. Someone who truly inspires people. Someone who is, you can't help but watch that guy play, right? Now, there's one other element in this, and there's one other ingredient in this, which is people will only want to continue to watch this team over a decade if they're a successful team. And he has earned that. As a captain, he has earned that. When he took over as Indian captain, India was 8th in the test rankings. We were a Bangladesh, basically. We had a generation of incredible batters. We had very, very good spinners, but bowling was not cut out for test cricket, right? So we never used to win. He came and he changed that. So his influence from his personality, the way his fame, the icon that he is, you get a lot of eyeballs through that. But for someone to reach that legendary status in the world of test cricket, you can only respect someone who's actually won it and done things which are unprecedented in Indian test history, like winning in Australia. That is the only way you command that amount of attention and respect. And that legacy that he has left in test cricket, Indians are never going to forget it. I am never ever going to forget this.
So in 2014 is when Kohli took over the Indian test team. And that was a phase, I would say, where test cricket was at its lowest because nobody was watching it, nobody was interested in it. Apart from the England-Australia Ashes series, I don't think there was any hype about test cricket at all.
That's very true.
What Kohli did was he has and still is in the IPL finals. He spoke about, like, if you want respect, go and play test cricket, right?
It's five levels above IPL.
Yeah, he's still championing test cricket over everything else. Now, when your Indian captain does that, it forces the BCCI to look at it. If it forces the BCCI to look at it, as Akshat said, it forces the ICC to look at it as a more, you have to give attention to this format. Now, in any sport, I would not say that there's one player bigger than the sport. maybe you can say Michael Jordan might have reached that level.
Yeah.
But let's face it, Test cricket was dying. And if it wasn't for Kohli, Test cricket would not be where it is today, especially with the things like the World Test Championship and all that has come up to promote the game and take it further. It would not have happened because T20 cricket and franchise cricket was going to take over eventually.
And for the viewers, like what we're trying to say, we're not talking about just Test cricket in terms of quality of the people who are playing Test cricket and the cricket which is being played. That was still good, right, in some series and all of that. But just the scale of it, where like you said, there's a World Test Championship, the Test may suddenly became something which everyone wants.
Yeah.
And again, that could not happen unless what you said.
Even like Test hundreds abroad, nobody really cared about it. But now we're looking at those kind of stats. Okay, how many has...
Exactly.
Probably because none of our people could like offer a good showing
Sachin
in those
like there are a lot of Indian batters who did. I mean, even Ajit Agarkar has got 100 at Lords, which Sachin has.
They have,
so,
but
yeah.
But the match-defining knocks in terms of turning series is we're going to talk about his great memorable moments soon. But some of the contributions that Virat Kohli has done and the way he's done it, I think they're going to leave a lasting impression on a huge population, and this is going to help Test cricket blossom into what it's supposed to be, the best format of the game.
Coming back to my point where I said that, no one person is above the sport. What I'm really sad is 30, 40 years down the line when Test cricket is still thriving, which it will be now, people won't remember what Kohli had done for this. So as much as
I
Kohli...
think they will, bro. I think
it'll be there.
No, but like...
It won't show in the stats. It will not show...
Yeah, because
maybe
the
not.
way Test cricket is being played is being changed on a day-to-day basis. You're having these firecracker sort of pure personalities coming into the Test format, taking up the game in sort of a 50 over game or a T20 game type game. The way
that's only England and they suck at it, bro.
No, but Amma, like to that point, like even now we remember names like what Sunny Gavaskar was for Test cricket for India, right?
Yeah.
We remember, like, even though he's not Indian, like someone like Viv Richards, like how amazing he was. We have not seen him play, but we still know, okay, he's at a legendary status. I feel like Kohli has done enough in the game to be remembered at that level, like 30, 40 years from now.
So, as much as Kohli needed Test cricket also needed Kohli, and that was a very beautiful relationship that has led to Indian cricket and world cricket being what it is today. Because the game only moves forward when India pull it forward, I feel.
Yeah.
It's just the truth, whether we like it or not, because of the number of people that are watching the sport and the money that is put into here. And he's created a culture through Test cricket that has pertained down to what young kids are doing now in the IPL and the T20 formats everywhere. It's not about going and whacking the ball and having good technique and all of that. It is just the mentality that you have when you enter the pitch. Because when he took over the captaincy in 2014, India were a very meek team. You would win home test series, yes, because the conditions are favouring you. The ball is spinning both ways. Get the new ball out, 15 overs, you're into the match, right? But whenever we used to go outside, our goal was not to win. I never saw an Indian test team going out to win. I saw an Indian test team trying to survive.
Trying to basically not get thrashed.
Yeah, trying to survive. Like, play out the new ball, don't lose 2-3 wickets in a row. That was the mindset. Yeah. But he came in and he's like, no, why? We'll go out.
Attack each session.
Yeah. We'll take 10 wickets each innings. Yeah. We'll win the match taking 20 wickets. That is how we're going to win. And he's made his test team like that. A lot can be said about Kohli's batting, and a lot of stars were there in that team. Test stars with Cheteshwar Pujara, with Ajinkya Rahane. These were like test stalwarts for India. They moved out of the frame now, but I want to focus more on Kohli's bowling. Look at that pace attack that he's built and the importance that he gave to fast bowling.
Since you bring that up, and also you've been talking about our mentality going into overseas conditions, can you talk us through some of the Sena conditions that Kohli changed the way Indian teams play against South Africa, England, New Zealand and Australia in those testing conditions? The way the intent that he came out with and he put the team out, it was sort of incredible.
In that podcast between Ashwin and Jadeja, Ashwin asked this question about Kohli's captaincy to Jadeja, and he replied with he always told the bowlers that we need to get 20 wickets. That he was always looking to take wickets as a bowling captain. So he like Amar said, he brought in that aggressive brand of cricket. He got in this fitness revolution as well, where people really truly have to be fit to play in the test team. But the fast bowling revolution, I think that is something we need to talk about, because we had decent fast bowlers, but not fast bowlers which the opposition was ever scared of. Ever. Right? And the way Kohli takes these fast bowlers and molds them in his aggressive image, that I want you to not just take wickets, I want you to pin those batsmen back, make them scared of you, do things with the ball which is actually going to get them like worried about a wicket rather than looking how to score all the time, right? The way he's used Bumrah towards the latter stage of his captaincy career, the way that he's used people like Mohammad Siraj, who I think is just transformed in a bowler from what he was to, the longer he's been under Kohli's tutelage. Going into these foreign conditions, because the difference why we won, why we didn't win from a strategic and tactical standpoint is that, hey, we have amazing spinners, we can dominate in our conditions, but to win in New Zealand, to win in England, to win in Australia, to win in South Africa, you need a deadly pace attack. So like I said, I mean, we've spoken a lot about how his mentality and all that is, but that can only be supported if you win. Right? So he was able to be decisive in these decisions of bringing these people into the team and also getting success on top of it.
Look, 2014 was a horrible year for Kohli, okay? When he went to England that year.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the worst individual performances.
So I have some stats on that.
Yeah.
134 runs in 10 innings.
Yeah.
Okay? And it was horrible. Shout out to Murali Vijay, who had an insane series. I thought he's a very underrated test player in Indian history.
I was going to bring him up in the Kohli.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go on.
No, that's it. Like, I just want to give some background on that series.
He was really, really bad. And he came back, and I remember Dinesh Karthik and Virat Kohli are talking in a Sky Sports interview that was happening in England just when DK had become a pundit, and they shared an IPL team together. And DK is asking, what are you thinking? And he's like, I'm thinking of going and hitting Mitchell Johnson for 3 pull shots. Like in the next few months, they were touring Australia in the BGT. And he's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to dominate Mitchell Johnson. And Dinesh Karthik is like, you can't middle a single ball. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I'm manifesting that I'm going to go and dominate in Australia.
And what happened then? 692 runs in Australia. First series as a captain, by the way.
Yeah.
At an average, this is Australia we're talking about, 86.5. 4 centuries, and I know we'll spend some time on the Adelaide test separately, so I'm not going to bring that out right now.
Yeah.
In the third match, 169. We're talking about a guy playing in Australia.
Yes. And like...
Against peak Mitchell Johnson, up and coming mid-star.
Angry guys, bro. Peter Siddle, all of those.
Peter Siddle was a great test bowler.
Yeah.
Nathan
Lyon at his peak at that time, dude. He was killing us. Yeah.
Yeah, so... And all this has started off because in that phase between 2011 to 2014, at some point Virat Kohli saw himself and he's like, I cannot survive and dominate test cricket if I'm looking like this. And he's gone into this crazy fitness regime, right? Which is something that I want to bring up. Now, we talk a lot about his fitness, his mentality, how he can bat out session after session, how he can run. But what that had done for Indian cricket that we look at now in retrospect is that the standards that he set in terms of fitness, when he became captain, he wanted everyone to do the yo-yo test and all of that, is how it boiled down to what his fast bowling unit is doing. Because India as a country, as a nation, were not the most athletic, like people like us. We're doing an unathletic podcast, right? Our fast bowlers could maybe bowl 3-4 lethal overs and then just taper down after that. What ended up happening was he got guys like Ishant Sharma, Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami, all these guys who are bowling long spells, 7-8 over spells. If you are thrown the ball and you have to bowl 7 overs, bowl. And bowl with vigor. Like, go after the batsman. It should not be like you're bowling 2 good overs and then you're giving them free runs. So that's what ended up happening. That's why it became such a lethal pace attack, because one goes, another one comes. One goes, another one comes. And I remember this very funny, I don't remember where I'd seen it, but Jadeja was talking. Or Ishant Sharma was talking. I think it was Breakfast with Champions. And he's like, okay, Jaddu is bowling from one end, I'm bowling from the other. And by the time I finished my over and gone and taken back my position in third man fine leg, I'm drinking water and I've just put on the towel. The over's done. Because this guy has gone and finished his over in like 45 seconds, okay? And he's like, what are you doing? Like, I have to go and bowl. And the thing was that, yeah, you have to go and bowl, but that is expected of you. And that kind of culture that he brought into the Indian Test cricket team, I think, is beautiful. It still goes on today, and now it's an all-format thing. In fact, it's an all-IPL thing.
Yeah.
Every team is playing to compete.
I was watching this Ashwin's Ash Kivar thing that he does now. The one thing that stands out in that 30-minute episode that he's put out post Kohli's retirement is the constant use of the word energy. He keeps bringing it up. Every single time when he's referencing Kohli, that's the one word that stands out. I think he brings up an instance. I think this is in either the 2018 BGT or the England series, wherein they've come out post-lunch and he's standing mid-wicket. They're expecting people normally to be, they've had a lunch and they're sort of lazy.
Yeah.
The sun is shining.
It happens to the best of us.
And you expect people to sort of lose their concentration. But this man, he runs like a madman, picks up the ball, and he throws it back all in one motion. It's a direct hit. Changes the complete course of the game, and nobody's expecting a wicket to fall at that point of time.
There's also this Amazon series called The Test, right, where they follow the Australians when they play Test cricket. There's this one clip of, I think it was Nathan Lyon, who said that we think we're on top of the game. We have India for 8 for 2. And then Kohli, the way he walks out, the energy, and they show a clip of him, he's like semi-jogging, like practicing his shots when he's walking in. And that itself, it had an impact on the opposition player. Like, it's not just intangible things, dude. This stuff matters.
Yeah, so there's a very small thing that has happened over the course of time, which I don't know if many people have noticed, but this was what Virat Kohli used to always do. Whenever he's coming out to bat, like T20 he was opening, so it didn't matter. But in tests, especially if you would see, he's coming at number 4, right? And in tests, there's on average, there's a long gap between your 1 and 2 getting out and then you coming.
Ideally.
Hopefully.
Not if you were the Indian team at that point, bro.
But as soon as the Indian batting would start, you would see this guy all get up. So what batsmen tend to usually do, and I've played like a fair bit of cricket in school and whatever, is that you would wear your pads, you would wear your gloves, and you wear your thigh pad, you'd sit chill, right? Or you won't even wear your gloves. This guy was ready with his helmet. Like, okay, if I have to go out in 2 balls, I'm mentally prepared that I'm going to go out in 2 balls and I have to face the innings.
Yeah.
And now that is something that if you see across, Surya Kumar has said this, that I used to not do this before. But now when I'm supposed to go out and bat, I'm all ready. Like, I have to wear my helmet and sit. And it's these, like...
minor small changes in mentality.
It affects,
goes a long way.
It affects a lot in how you are building up as a team, because it's something that the youngsters are seeing. It's something that your senior players are seeing you do, so you start adopting that. And it's beautiful.
The thing is, like, when you are at the level Kohli is, you are automatically a role model for everyone, 1.25, 1.4 billion Indians who are cricket hungry, right?
Yep.
You are the role model of this entire group of like people. So that affects people growing up. It affects kids, how they play cricket and in the grassroots itself. And that's again how now India has such a deep bench of like such incredible cricketers.
Another thing that Kohli did really well was that 11 are a team. We are not 6 batsmen, 5 bowlers. I want everyone to step up and contribute when the time comes, right? And you could see that across his career. But what I want to bring up is how his tail-enders batted. Because when Kohli started captaining, you saw a lot of handy contributions from the tail. That's because he made them practice. Like he said, okay, Siraj has to go and bat, Shami has to go and bat, Bumrah has to go and bat in the nets. And we have to give them top level bowling. So usually what happens in Indian setups is that you're carrying all these reserve bowlers and net bowlers and whatever, and they're the ones who are bowling to the bowlers. But Kohli is like, no, they are going to be facing the likes of Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, who are going to come and try to pick off the tail quickly. We need them to face our premium bowlers too. And then you see the results. Like that Lord's Test match, a lot of people talk about it, give them 60 overs in hell. What has happened just before that in the session? We were down and out of the game. Shami and Bumrah were batting, right? We were, I think, 8 down. And these two have come in, stitched a partnership. I think Shami has hit a Lord's 50. He's come out and pasted them. And he's got us into a position where now we're not looking to survive. In the morning of that day, we were looking to survive. Like, just get by play as long as possible. Otherwise, England are going to come back and finish the game off.
Yep.
Suddenly it shifted to, oh wait, we can win the game in 60 overs.
Yeah.
And then you saw the way the team came out after that.
And I just want to spend a little bit more time on this particular moment.
But okay, if you want to talk about this particular memorable incident, you can. But I just wanted, before we lose our train of thought, we can talk one by one about his memorable knobs from when he started off.
Let's do it after the Lord's game because that was special.
Like, how do I say? Because I was watching, okay, and when those words came out that I don't want to see anyone smiling or laughing, we need to give them 60 overs of hell out there. We need to make them feel like hell out there for 60 overs. That energy when we came out to bowl and we got that first wicket, and I don't care if it's a 37-year-old Kohli or an 18-year-old Kohli. When a wicket falls, it's as if he has taken the wicket himself.
Yeah.
Hands up in the air, shouting, screaming, running in, pumping his bowler up, looking at the batsman, giving him a send-off. Me watching that felt like we can do this. We are going to do this. Like that energy which he can bring on me, like sitting like thousands of miles away. Imagine what that does to your teammates or right.
And it was the perfect plan also to get the wicket. I think the first wicket was to Sibley, where they've put in one short mid-wicket and they've put it on his pads and he's just like clipped it. It was one of the wickets for sure. So
I think the first one was an edged, a left-hander was an edged and he caught it in the slips. But I think
there was one wicket that fell like this, which
was set up basically.
Yeah, which shows that he's not just like all aggression, all out, like go and shout on the pitch. There was a thinking mind behind what he's doing. And I remember one of the wickets where Bumrah has bowled a ball and the umpires given it not out, and there was a little confusion with Pant as well because he's not the best at reviews, honestly. So you can hear him, right? If you go to go and watch the highlights, he has run perpendicular to Bumrah. He's not even cared of what Pant is saying. He's like, pitch pe gira hai. That means has it fallen in line? And Bumrah is like, yeah. And he's like, review, done. Like he backs his bowlers to that degree. Like he's not even looking at the keeper because he knows that if it's pitched in line, that is out.
It will go down as probably India's greatest. I mean, there are a few candidates.
But even the 2018, 2019, which year was it? 2019, I think, which we won the first ever first ever tour in Australia.
Yeah, that was 2018, 2019.
Yeah, so that was special too.
That was
nobody had gone.
And some of those victories in that tournament were just like.
Yeah, you want to take us through any memorable games?
Yeah, so first we're going to. I mean, there are quite a lot.
Yeah, there's too much to go through. Yeah.
I mean, let's touch upon the overseas innings primarily. So there's this crazy. Nearly missed out on a twin century in Johannesburg 2013, 119 in the first innings and 96. But moving on to the next one, which I want to talk about and spend more time, is the Adelaide Test. 115 in the first innings, 141 in the second innings. Take us through that, Amar. It has been incredible. Everyone references that Border Gavaskar trophy because of the change of hands, what it meant.
Yeah.
Dhoni, this was the first test where Dhoni, because of injury, Virat was the stand-in captain before it became official. So, what does it mean for a newly appointed test captain to come out and show his intent in that way by scoring a twin century?
I just want to give a little... So, the first time he played in Australia was in 2012 when our team had Sachin, Dravid, Sehwag, Lakshman, Dhoni. Everyone struggled. Kohli also didn't have a great series, but he was India's highest run getter and he scored his first century abroad in Australia, 116. And that was the day he earned the respect of the Aussies.
Yeah.
And the next time they see him, he's walking out and leading the team. And that's when Adelaide happened.
I think we lost that Adelaide match, if I'm not wrong.
We did.
We were in a very, very bad position when he came out to bat and he stitched a really good partnership.
Lost it by 48 runs.
Yeah. But we were like way out of the game. And I think that partnership with Ajinkya Rahane was truly special. And what I want to highlight in that innings was the way he batted with the tail, because the majority of that was batting with the tail. where he figured out that, you can't give them much strike. These guys are on fire.
Yeah.
And then he also figured out that I can't just stick around here. I have to go for it.
Yeah.
So he chose Mitchell Johnson to attack because Mitchell Johnson was bowling short to him, and then he decided that he's going to start pulling and flicking him. And some of the shots that he played over there, even Johnson is like, what is this guy doing? Like, I think that's the first time in Johnson's career in his prime when he's been dominated like this by anyone in his home conditions.
I was going through the highlights before this, before our episode. You only see Mitch Johnson's face again and again and again throughout the highlights. And this is also surprisingly Hazelwood's debut match also. Yeah. He's taken 5 wickets in the first innings also, and he still thrashed him in the second innings.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to point out is that in that same match, Nathan Lyon had took 12 wickets.
Oh yeah.
And the way Kohli batted against Nathan Lyon was just outstanding. Like Amar said, knowing that he has to score, so taking that calculated risk of getting a boundary, but also then your defensive technique being tested for the rest of the over, but also you have to pinch a single, right? So just him doing that over after over, managing this guy, showing his different skill sets. I mean, this is why I love Test cricket, man. You get to see it all. It's such a well-rounded...
In the start of the episode, I spoke about how Test cricket is a lot about resilience and fortitude, mental fortitude, right? Especially your mental strength. And when Kohli first burst into the scene, he was not... I still don't think he is, where you would watch him bat and you'll be like, oh, that's a great Test batsman. You would say that about people like Sachin or Lakshman. In modern day, you'd say people like Williamson.
Yeah.
Leave Steve Smith completely out of this because I don't know how.
This is the same trophy where they went toe for toe, no? Like this Border Gavaskar trophy where Kohli hit 400s. Steve Smith also hit 400s.
Yes,
Kohli hit some 690 runs.
It was the start of both their legendary status.
They both announced themselves as the Fab Four, basically.
But when you see him bat, right, you'd be like, okay, this technique is probably not the best for Test cricket. And that is why Kohli is such a champion of the game, because he went to all these different venues, conditions, and he's adjusted his trigger movement according to what the conditions are, plus according to the bowlers that he's facing. He is so... he went into such minutiae of details about his game that he figured out how to score runs wherever he goes. And that 2014 was a great example of how he's adjusted his trigger movement to stay a little bit on the back, because he was pushing for the ball. He was pushing for the ball a little bit forward, and it was not working in Australia because of the extra bounce. So he was staying primarily on his back foot. Compare that to England in 2018, where he's adjusted his trigger movement just for one bowler, that is James Anderson. Because Anderson was getting him out again and again and again. So you could see that when he's facing Anderson, he has a different stance versus when he's facing Stuart Broad. And in that series, he did something different. Instead of, again, the same problem where he's prodding out, he's playing balls that are outside the fourth stump or maybe the fourth stump, nicking it and it's getting caught. What he did for this series instead is he started coming out. He started taking 2 steps forward from his stance itself, coming and meeting the ball earlier on the drive. In England, you don't hit many runs straight because it's difficult. You hit it on the square. And he managed to move his trigger movements in such a way that he's getting the drives on the square. It's amazing, man, the things that he did as a batsman. Forget about the captain. Let's talk about Kohli, the batsman.
That's a good segue, though, because that brings us right to the 2018 England tour, Edgbaston Test. You talk about how he adjusted his game for James Anderson. I was just going through the stats, and in 2014, Anderson has gotten him out a lot.
Yeah.
And this particular series, not once has Anderson managed to get Kohli out. So, look at the way he, like you say, he adjusted to that particular bowler and he managed to one-up him.
And that, again, the last time he had played in England was actually that 134 runs in
2014.
Yeah. So, for him to come out and have so many questions thrown at him, right? Like, you know how English media is basically, right? So many questions thrown about his technique, how it's not suitable for batting conditions in England for the reasons which Amar also mentioned. The fact that the ball is moving around so much that playing with a straight bat is not that easy anymore, right? So you have to angle your bat to account for movements off the pitch and the swing as well, because in overcast conditions in England, honestly, I think the 2 most difficult conditions in world cricket to face are a day 5 pitch on India in the 4th innings and overcast conditions in England. Like, I don't think there's a better even Australia's bounce, I don't think is as difficult as facing these conditions, right? So for him to not, like, to work on his game, to get to the redemption tour where he scored 593 runs at an average of 59.3, leave being better than Indian batsmen. The next best batsman in that series was Joe Root, obviously, with 349 runs.
Yeah.
This guy is like way ahead, dude. Almost 250
He
runs
dominated every time he came on. Like,
we lost that series 4-1.
yeah.
He won man of the tournament.
Yeah.
It was probably the best I have seen an Indian bat in foreign conditions. If you take difficulty into account, not just look at runs and average, that is the best I've seen someone bat.
And it set the base for whatever we were doing as an Indian team, because the next year we went and won in Australia. In 2021, we almost beat England if it wasn't for COVID.
Man,
it was a heartbreaking loss. That's
the one thing I'm really salty about.
Because when that match got called off because of COVID, we were in a very strong position to go 2-0 up into that series and then probably close it from there.
So we were 2-1 up.
2-1 up.
So the fifth match didn't happen. The fourth match, which we did play, was a draw where we were thrashing them. They got saved by rain.
Correct. Rain had played
So they were both of those matches, I feel like, if it had just happened, he would have got that test series victory in England, which we so badly deserved, man.
And even that Gaba Ka Ghaman tour that happened in BGT, like, he wasn't there for that because he left after the first game for the birth of his first child.
Yeah.
We were 36 all out in that tour in the first match. But the way those players played, at the end of the day, it was still Kohli's team. It was a team that he's built. Yeah, he's built over the last 10 years since whenever. I mean, we had Hanuma, Vihari and Ashwin saving us a game. If you watch that tour again, they were just taking body blow after body blow after body blow.
Pujara played that absolutely crucial knock right in the second test where he just got pummeled by the ball, man. I don't remember how many times he got hit, but in the back page of the newspaper, they had a diagram of Pujara and pointed out each and every time he got hit by the ball, bro. It was insane.
I love Australian media.
Yeah.
But one thing that I put up on the group, if you can just pull out, which is his the purple patch that I was talking about from 2014 to 2018, 2019. And those records are just crazy as captain, man. I don't think I've seen anyone come close to that.
Just to give context to the viewers, what Amar is talking about is away record between 2014 and 2019. He's played 90 innings, scored 5,437 runs with 21 centuries and 54 plus average on tour.
On tour.
So I'll just back that up, okay? Because I have written that the initial stage of his career, 2011 to 2015, he had an average of 44, which is damn good, okay? From 2016 to 2019, average of 66.69. 16 centuries, 7 double centuries, best score of 254 in that time as well, and the first player to smash double centuries in 4 consecutive series.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, we don't even talk about his home form, which was good, but all the spotlight is away, right?
Yeah.
We've spoken about England, we've spoken about Australia. Even in South Africa, recently when we went, I think 2 years ago, he hit a century over there in crazy conditions. Like, there was no player who was able to even stick out there for more than 15-20 balls. And this guy has gone and belted 1 century again with the tail-enders. It's a special kind of talent, and his retirement from Test cricket is very sudden. I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought he would retire from IPL before he decided to hang his boots.
Because he loves the format so much. Yeah.
Decides to hang his boots in Test cricket.
He's still champion in Test cricket when he's about to celebrate the IPL victory.
Man.
Yeah.
He's there. All that elation is there. He has his mind should be only on one particular thing, lifting the trophy at that point. But he comes out, talks about how Test cricket is 5 to 6 times tougher, and it is the best format in the game.
I don't want to get into conjecture and politics and what has happened and what is not, but as personally as a Virat Kohli fan, I just wanted myself to see him captain the Indian Test team one more time, like be a captain in whites, and somehow we even got that because in the last match of the BGT where he represented India, he was the captain for the last day. although it was a horrible game, but he came out with the signature Kohli,
that aura.
Aura where he's telling the fans that I don't have sandpaper in my pocket. So
he loves play against them. He loves it.
We've talked about Kohli's aggressive nature, his mentality. What I want to talk about is grit, and like we've also touched upon mental fortitude, no? Because there are a couple knocks that he's played in horrible conditions when the team's down and about, were expected to lose the game. One of the such was 153 against South Africa in Centurion, 2018 this was. Indian team has scored a total of 307 and his contribution is 153 to that. More than 50% to that.
Yeah.
And
only he batted.
No other Indian batter crossed 50 runs also in that game.
And he batted a lot with Ishant Sharma in that game.
I mean, he's faced the bowling attack of Kagiso Rabada, Morne Maukel, Philander.
That was the world's best lineup at that point of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back a few years also, for some reason, Kohli loves South African conditions. Okay, I mean, in 2013, Johannesburg, I just mentioned it before, but like that bowling attack, there was Dale Steyn also in the mix. And he still managed to score like nearly a twin century in that particular series.
And it's also about like how, I think Ashwin spoke about this on his podcast. It's about how he champions players.
Yep.
I think it was he was talking with KL Rahul and both of them were talking about Kohli. And they were saying that batting with Kohli is like something else. And we've addressed this in one of our previous episodes where, we said Devdutt Padikkal is just a completely different batsman when Kohli is opposite him. So Ashwin was saying that they were batting in this series in 2018 in South Africa. And Rabada was at his absolute peak and Ashwin has come out to bat. And he's told Ashwin like, okay, just like, calm down, stay there, like support me as much as possible. But then Rabada has bowled a short ball and Ashwin has pulled it for 4. Okay. And Kohli has gone berserk from the other end. Like, let's fucking go. Let's do this. Come on. And Ashwin is like, okay, fine. And then another instance where again he's bowled a short ball, again he's hit it for 4 and Kohli has gone even more berserk. Okay. Like he's running down the pitch. And then he's seen Dean Elgar, who was the captain at that time, walk across to Ashwin to try and sledge him. And he's gone to Dean Elgar and said, you can't say anything to him because you've got an only duck out. Like, you've not scored any runs in this tournament, so go back to your place. And then Ashwin has to go to Kohli and says, like calm down. Like, this guy's bowling rockets. I'm still not able to see the ball, okay? Like, till date, this is the hardest bowler that I've faced. I'm still not able to see the ball. Like, don't expect so much from me. But that's the thing. Like, he brings out that sort of emotion with the players that he's playing with. And again, coming back to that DK interview on Sky Sports, he'd asked him a very, very important question, I would say, at that phase of his career, where he asked Kohli that what is the legacy that you want to leave behind for Indian Test cricket? And Kohli said, I've already achieved it. Now that interview is taken in a backdrop where both of them are sitting on the pitch and the Indian players are practicing behind them. And he's like, I've already achieved it. Look at those guys over there right now. Do you see the intensity with which they come out to practice? Like, I made it very clear that when you are practicing for India in a test match, I don't want anyone to come out and, mess around, and practice how it is. Like, you're joking around, you're fooling around. I want intense, accurate practice sessions where you're coming out, doing the thing that you want to do, and you're going back.
Best of luck, Shubman Gill. Best of luck, buddy.
Before, I think we're nearing towards the end, but I just want to touch upon the 254 knock that he's put out. This was again against South Africa in Pune, but in 2019. And this time he's played the game, paced it perfectly. The combination of patience and aggression that was showed in the innings. He's played for a total of 8 hours straight. And he's come and put that score out, leading the team to a total of 601 runs. And we won that match, of course. But what a great showing. And this is a person who scored 7 double centuries also.
Yeah, that's crazy. Our old bowling attack would have then given a lead of 50 runs to South Africa. But yeah, man, when you take these individual innings, the honest truth is I don't remember them because I don't remember his batting.
I completely agree with Amar over here. It's like I know the scores and all of that, but he used to bat, whether he's scoring 250 runs or he's scoring 30 runs, he always used to bat the exact same way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it all blends together. Like, I can't think, obviously I'm not talking about last 5 years, it's been a downturn, it's fine. But when I think of Kohli, it's just been this the way he just times the ball, man, he could be struggling. Like, the bowlers could be all on top of this dude. He's struggling to survive out there. And then he will come in and crunch the most beautiful cover drive you've ever seen in your life. And even the bowlers are like, bro, what the fuck do I do? I had you like dead. And you're here playing these kind of shots against me. What a batter.
That 254 I don't remember at all, bro.
That was his highest score in the test format.
Yeah,
ever.
of course.
Yeah.
Man, beautiful. And though, how many double test centuries did you say? 7. That's insane.
I think all was that captain, or is that...
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But you did say that it was between the 2016 to 19 period, so that covers the captaincy era. So
correct.
Most probably is.
Yeah.
And he's also he surpassed Sachin. I think the last 100 that he hit in the BGT, 7 hundreds against Australia, and this is in overseas conditions.
He's
So I have
Australia's
this,
adopted child, dude.
Dude, I have this amazing stat about Kohli, where in Australia, he has a higher average away than at home. There's no other, in all of the other ones, he's obviously had a higher home average. He has an average of 46 in Australia and 43 in India.
That's because he's a player of the situation. He loves that backdrop of all these Aussies going at him, the Aussie bowlers going at him, the Aussie media going at him. He thrives for that.
And I think he likes that all Aussies deep down kind of love sledging.
Yeah.
Like, they love banter going back and forth. And I think he also feels a little bit at home because no other country... He does that in England, fucking there'll be some 3 articles written about in the next day of how he's arrogant and all. With Aussies, like, yeah, that's my guy.
You see lots of Aussies coming out and telling that he has the Aussie mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to
But
Harsha
I
Bhogle,
think that's very
that's what
regressive in its thinking.
Because I mean, the fight, the fortitude.
I think that's,
all of that is
that's
there.
as Indian as it gets.
That
like
is there,
we've
but
come
the
through
thing
dog
is-
shit days.
Kohli's used those set of principles and things to beat Australia in their own soil, and Australia have nothing else to do but call him one of their own to save face.
Actually, like they're like, shit, damn, yeah, take it, bro. Like, what else? How else can I deny you? You did everything what Australians do. Cool, bro. I think there's a lot of memorable things about Kohli, including his IPL T20 and all of that. But if you have to take all formats into account, I think the way he has played in Australia in Test cricket is what I will remember him the highest for.
Yeah.
It has always been the peak for me. The way, as Amar said before, he's taken on Dude, Mitchell Johnson was the scariest bowler.
I have
maybe
some
ever.
stats about that series, okay?
Okay.
He's played 8 innings with an average of 86.5.
Yeah.
692 runs he scored, 169 being the highest score, 400s and 150. And I mean, but we also spoke about Steve Smith in the same this thing. He scored more runs than Kohli, man, in that series.
We could not get the Steve Smith out only that entire series, bro.
My most memorable thing about Kohli in his test career is when he's gone to Australia and he's flipped the bird to the fans, and that was way back. Like
This is a 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
or
like
something,
when he just started, and we were like, okay, like this guy has come here to play. He's not going to take shit from the Aussies.
And he did it. He walked the walk and he talked the talk. So, I mean, I think we're about to close it also.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fitting Kohli tribute episode though. Like there can be so much that
That's
can be
the thing.
spoken
No, I mean,
about.
we get another 2-3 hours also. We can continue speaking about him. That's just
We
testament
haven't
to
even
his
spoken
career.
about New Zealand, man. We haven't spoken about like so many things, but yeah.
We've not spoken about his home.
We can definitely take it up in part 2. I mean, taking into consideration his
Like,
IPL
more than
career
that, I
and
want
other things also.
the viewers, if you feel like there are some Kohli innings which really touched your heart and we have not been able to discuss in this long amount of time, but still, please put it down in the comments. We'd love to see, what you guys also think and relive those memories as well.
What a nice way to end it on.
I have one more thing to say before we
Yeah.
end though. So, when, like Amar said, it was a very sudden retirement of Kohli in Test cricket. And when that came out, I felt sad, but I don't think it really hit me.
It's sort of the thing that Kohli does also, no? I think we were discussing this the other day when we were watching the IPL final also.
Yeah.
Because
You
he's
never
not
know.
he's not someone who'll come out in the open, talk about it for a couple of months, set a particular retirement date,
Exactly.
and like make a big show of it. He'll walk quietly away. And
so
He won't be quiet for sure. Because
we won't let it be quiet. We won't let it be quiet. But
they're doing this, right? Because of that.
I think he's sort of the personality who would tried to not put himself in the limelight
Yeah.
instead of the ongoing test games or the series or any other format.
But when it actually hit me is the last 2-3 days, dude. And when I got the opportunity to just go through his entire career, all the things he's done, relive those memories, like I said, that aggression, all of that fight, just seeing all of that throughout his career, it got me pretty emotional, man. And now I'm sitting over here and thinking this is like my final eulogy to Kohli's career, which was just amazing. And I feel sad now that I'm not going to be able to witness it again. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. This man, I've come to realize how much I respect him, how much of an inspiration he is to me personally. Like, I would put him on the same pedestal I put Sir Alex Ferguson in the amount of, like,
love,
yeah.
raw love.
Love, just respect everything towards one human being. And now, like I said, it's all hit me. And man, I'm just so glad that I have been watching cricket, growing up watching cricket when Virat Kohli was the test captain of our team.
Yeah.
And thank you.
We
blockbuster.
went for, actually I think we went for the last ever home game of Virat Kohli.
Yeah, we did.
In the stadium. And when
Bangalore, by the way.
Oh yeah, and this is one thing that I'm really pissed about him, okay? If he survived one ball the previous day, the last ball of the day he got out, the next day we were going to the stadium to watch, we would have seen Kohli bat at home, okay?
And
one ball, bro.
The damn sad thing about this is, okay, that we're like, okay, you know what, screw it. At least we're going to watch Bumrah bowl, okay? It was a rain-affected day and Pant, Sarfu and Pant. Yeah, they played a good innings and we survived a lot longer than what we expected, okay? Finally, India's time to bowl comes.
Wash out.
4 balls, bro.
Yeah.
4 balls, and it poured so heavily that day.
But I remember Akshat telling me this is when the Indian team was walking out to field. He's like, this is aura, bro. Like, you could see that they're wanting to come out and take 2-3 wickets. And for him to make the test team so vicious, like a pack of wolves, it's a privilege,
like,
man.
the audience was more hyped about those 4 balls being bowled than they were at any point when Pant and Sarfaraz, and they were playing amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what he does, man. Like he said, Kohli's already left his legacy.
What a beautiful way to end it on. So, you guys, if you have anything to add, please hit us on our socials. We're available on all your social platforms. Do like, share, and subscribe on all our formats of video as well as podcasting.
And if you want us to talk about certain topics, you can just let us know in the comments and we'll definitely do it someday.
We're also taking sponsorships. So if you want to send us some money, as the production manager, his wife, my dad, we're all open to it.
Oh wait, but there is this one thing. So we're going to start decorating this place by putting up posters, and we don't know what sport, what team, what player or anything. So if you guys want to give us some suggestions again in the comments, we will actually take that up and buy those posters. And as Amar said, if you want to sponsor one of those posters, be our guest.